Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome. Happy New Year. Glad to see you here this evening. Welcome to the Joy of Living cooking class for January 2024. Did you know that you were born to enjoy a life that is active, vibrant, and filled with joy? Start living that life today by embracing the principles of a whole person approach to health that quenches the need of the body and mind and the spirit. By making a few small changes in your daily routine, you can enjoy better health, more happiness, and a more fulfilling life. And that is why we're here this evening. We want life to the fullest. I am your hostess for the evening. My name is Chris. To kick us off, we have our Pastor Randy to bring our devotional. Thanks, Randy.
This evening, I'd like for you to think about the people in your world, in your life, personally and professionally, if you work, who consistently make deposits into your emotional bank account. People who bring the best out in you, those people who breathe life into you. These are people, they often remind you how important you are. They empower you to live to your full potential, to actively pursue your dreams. When you're with them, you find yourself just calming down. The anxiety just goes way down. Your sense of trust, your belief in yourself and others goes up just being around these kinds of people. Encouragers are invaluable to our personal and professional lives. What they offer provides the best fuel for your emotional bank account. Encouragers are vital to any work community. They are vital to any family. They are vital to any neighborhood. They are vital to every faith community. The word to encourage is used more than 100 times in the New Testament. And one of the great characters in the New Testament, one of my favorites, is someone who made encouragement an art form. In fact, his name was Joseph, but the early church renamed him Barnabas, which means the son of encouragement. We find him rather hidden in 4 chapters in the book of Acts. But in a few stories, we encounter this man. He was always faithfully building other people up, investing into their emotional bank accounts. In fact, he was instrumental in kickstarting the powerful ministry of Saul, who later became the Apostle Paul, as found in chapter 9. Encouragers give you this wonderful gift. They believe in what you can be. They help you achieve your dreams. They don't define you on the basis of who you were yesterday. They're confident in your ability to be the best version of yourself. Rick Riley, a prominent writer for Sports Illustrated, shares this unforgettable story of a father who brought the best out of his disabled child. Riley writes these words: "I try to be a good father, but compared with Dick Hoyt, I suck." This love story began in Winchester, Massachusetts, 43 years ago, when Rick was strangled by the umbilical cord during birth, leaving him brain damaged and unable to control his limbs. "He'll be a vegetable the rest of his life," Dick says doctors told him and his wife Judy when Rick was 9 months old. "Put him in an institution." But the Hoyts weren't buying it. They noticed the way Rick's eyes followed them around the room. When Rick was 11, they took him to the engineering department at Tufts University and asked if there was anything they could get to help this boy communicate. "No way," Dick was told. "There's nothing going on in his brain." "Tell him a joke," Dick countered. They did. Rick laughed. Turns out there was a lot going on in his brain. Rigged up with a computer that allowed him to control the cursor by touching a switch with the side of his head, Rick was finally able to communicate. His first words, "Go Bruins!" And after a high school classmate was paralyzed in an accident and the school organized a charity run for him, Rick pecked out the words, "Dad, I want to do that." Yeah, right. How was Dick, a self-described porker who never ran more than a mile at a time, going to push his son 5 miles? Still, he tried. Then it was me who was handicapped, Dick says, because I was sore for 2 weeks. That day changed Rick's life. "Dad," he typed, "when we were running, it felt like I wasn't disabled anymore." And that sentence changed Dick's life. He became obsessed with giving Rick that feeling as often as he could. He got into such hard belly shape that he and Rick were ready to try the 1979 Boston Marathon. "No way," Dick was told by a race official. The Hoyts weren't quite a single runner, and they weren't quite a wheelchair competitor. For a few years, Dick and Rick just joined the massive field and ran anyway. Then they found a way to get into the race officially. In 1983, they ran another marathon so fast that it qualified them to run the Boston Marathon the following year. Then somebody said, "Hey, Dick, why not a triathlon?" How's a guy who never learned to swim and hadn't ridden a bike since he was 6 years old going to haul his 110-pound kid through a triathlon? Still, Dick tried. Now they have done 212 triathlons, including 4 grueling 15-hour Ironmans in Hawaii. Must be a buzzkill to a 25-year-old stud getting passed by an old guy towing a grown man in a dinghy, don't you think? "Hey, Dick, why don't you run on your own and see how you do?" "No way," he says. Dick does it purely for that, quote, awesome feeling he gets seeing Rick with a cantaloupe smile as they run, swim, and ride together. In 2005, at ages 65 and 43, Rick and Dick finished their 24th Boston Marathon in 5,083rd place out of more than 20,000 contestants. Their best time? 2 hours, 40 minutes in 1992. Only 35 minutes off the world record, which, in case you don't keep track of these things, happens to be held by a guy who was not pushing another man in a wheelchair. As of March 2018, Riley writes, the Hoyts had competed in 1,230 endurance events, including 84 marathons, 8 Ironman triathlons. They had run the Boston Marathon 35 times. No question, Rick types, my dad is the father of the century. The thing I like most, Rick continues to type, is that my dad would sit in the chair and I could push him once. This story just wipes me out every time. Looking at the face of that big old strong father with a determination that his son is going to run that race, that son that he loves, one more time. And the smile of the face of his son that says, somebody believes in me. Somebody brings the best out in me. Somebody helps me to achieve my dreams. And at the end, their hands up in the air saying, we did this together. Let's pray together. Thank you for the privilege, Jesus, for us to take your compassionate heart, your loving spirit, your encouraging nature, and reflect it to everyone around us. So we desire to be like Rick and Dick, to be able to see the best in the people around us, to be able to breathe life in them, to be able to see what dreams you have for them. We give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
But we have super good news that God has promised to be with us. You know, the enemy, the thief, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But God comes and he gives us life, and that more abundantly. Good news. Now, what we look at every time is that we're looking at a whole person program of taking care of you yourself, mind, body, and spirit. All three of them are very important. And as you can see, these circles, they overlap. You take care of one, and it impacts the others. You take care of your mind, and it benefits your body and your spirit. You take care of your body, and it benefits your spirit and your mind. All three of them are very important components to take care of all the time. And he who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. And you know, health is not merely the absence of disease, but it is the complete state of physical, mental, spiritual, social, and emotional well-being. So this is what we wish for each one. And that's what we're here to learn and grow in here at this evening. And we do like to promote the New Start programs. That New Start is an acronym that stands for nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. All 8 of those components are benefiting each one of those 3 circles, mind, body, and spirit. Of course, with the nutrition, we like to demonstrate the good nutritious recipes, which we're going to show you a couple this evening, but also want to encourage you to do the best you can to do the best for yourself in all of these other aspects as well. We'll have a little exercise component. We'll talk about rest tonight. And of course, we'll also talk about trust in God. And just in case you don't know what that temperance word means, it's not real common these days. Temperance means avoiding bad things altogether and using the good things in moderation. It's not everything in moderation. No. Bad things, don't use them. Avoid them altogether. Only the good things in moderation. All right? So let's talk a little bit about rest. You know, we live in the fast lane, so we want to get out of that. Do you know the wonderfully sweet pleasure of leaning back and reveling in a good rest? That's the gift God exemplified when he himself rested on the 7th day. And this 7th day of rest wasn't simply because he ran out of things to create. It was an intentional day that he ordained to set a message to us about how essential rest is. How can most of us learn the value of rest? The first way is to broaden our horizon on what rest truly can be. Rest can come in at a 10-minute power nap. That's what I had this afternoon. A 20-second virtual vacation, or 8 hours of wonderful sleep. Regardless of its length, rest offers energy for the burned out and restoration for the broken. Rest replaces weariness, exhaustion, and fatigue with peace, energy, and hope. Maybe that's why God showed us how important a whole day of rest could be. Knowing that we would work hard all week, he dedicated an entire day for us to plug into his power, a time when he could remove the distractions and fill us with his healing presence so we can be healthier people throughout the coming week. Rest is God's personal way of saying, let's take some time together, just you and me. And that's what we've been doing today and enjoying that immensely. Recommend that to you. But also, let's talk about sleep. Imagine a pill that could boost your immune system, improve your memory, reduce stress, increase your attention span, support weight loss, reduce your risk of chronic disease, and enhance creativity without side effects. Most people would jump at the chance to take the pill. What if I told you such a thing exists? That magic pill is consistent, adequate sleep. Something that escapes as many as 70% of Americans on a regular basis and 11% nearly every night. As you progress through the stages of sleep, each night your body amps up to clean house, jumping into high gear to repair DNA, enhance protein building machinery, and make changes to epigenetics that can decrease insulin resistance. In addition, a system in your brain called glymphatics goes to work to clear out toxins. A plethora of medications exist to help with sleep, right? But none are intended for long-term use, and many carry significant risk of side effects and dependence. A combination of stress, bright lights at night, television, computers, cell phones, and our fast-paced culture all play a part in chronic insomnia, throwing off your body clock so you feel tired at the wrong times. It is possible to reset your circadian rhythm and restore healthy sleep with a few positive lifestyle choices. So here are some habits that support good sleep. Get adequate sunlight during the day. Maybe not on a rain-drenched day like today, but when the sun's out. Number 2, use your bed for sleep, not for watching television, looking at your computer or phone, or working. 3, establish a regular sleep schedule with the same bedtime and wake-up time, and practice that sleep schedule 7 days a week. Next, minimize noise and light in your bedroom. And then front-load calorie consumption early in the day, holding off the late night snacking. Exercise regularly. Then starting 2 hours before bedtime, dim the lights in your house and avoid blue lights from your computer, phone, and television. 2 hours. What can you do in those 2 hours? Yeah. Ask your doctor about a referral or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. Of course, that's always an option. And of course, practice praying and thinking about your blessings, which will aid in stress management and more. Sleep plays an important role in managing chronic conditions through epigenetics and other natural physical processes. A single night of sleep can change the gene that sets your body clock for good or bad regarding the effects on blood sugar. Bad sleep nights can lead to insulin resistance, which raises the risk of diabetes, while good sleep can decrease insulin resistance. Simple habits, practiced consistently over time, can lead to either disease or good health. You can take control over chronic health conditions by choosing to practice habits that enhance good sleep. These habits are tools to optimize your overall health. It's never too late to make positive changes. Just some ideas there to help you get good rest. Everyone needs it. All right. Hey, are you ready for our first demonstration? Okay. So we have a guest presenter here this evening with us, Debbie Lucas. She is a registered dietitian, and I believe it's UC Davis that you're with?
Kind of. I'll talk about that.
Welcome, Debbie. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Hi, thank you for having me today. And we're doing soups today. And of course, what better day than this rainy day? So good for you for coming out here in all this rain. So I'm doing 2 different things. The first one is my black-eyed pea soup and greens. I always do black-eyed peas on New Year's. I don't know if you guys do that. It's good luck. Then when you add greens, that's for money, I guess. I don't know. So I use my Instapot. Does anybody else have an Instapot? I love the Instapot. When the Instant Pot is like also called a multi-cooker, now that they're everywhere, they're much less expensive than probably when people first started getting them. But when I got my Instant Pot, I got rid of my crock pot, my rice cooker, my yogurt maker. What was the other things? The pressure cooker, which I was never very good at. I never could make rice either. So this does it all very well. So I love it. I also love that you can saute in it because remember, my crock pot was from when I got married 30 years ago, and you couldn't always saute in them first, but the recipes always said saute your onions first. So I actually love the Instant Pot. It's all I have now. So I'm going to do these in that. My favorite part, did I move? My favorite part of the Instant Pot, or one of my favorites, is that you can take dry beans and cook them in here without pre-soaking. Now, black-eyed peas, you never have to pre-soak, like lentils, so that's fine. So this isn't any big secret today. But if you wanted, how you think, I want to, have kidney beans tonight, but I forgot to soak them. There's lots of things you could do to speed it up, but you can throw them right in here and you don't have to pre-soak, and they come out beautifully, like every time. So that's one reason I like it. So my recipe, I better get it here. These are smoky black-eyed peas. First thing I'm going to do, like every recipe, is you saute your onions. Now, where I am and what I promote too is a whole food plant-based diet that's very minimal in the SOS, the salt, oil, and sugar. And so you know how every recipe says use 2 tablespoons of oil and saute your onions. Well, you don't need to do that. So I'm going to use a little broth. You could use water. You could just do it in the dry pan. Most vegetables have their own water that comes out if you just give it a little time. It does take a little more time. So right now, I just set my Instant Pot onto saute. So the way this recipe goes is it says, okay, you saute your onions up. We didn't use the oil. We just use a little broth. And I'm using vegetable broth. And it's low sodium. I'm going low sodium on everything today. So when you taste it, and this is the most common response I get when I make things, it could use some salt. So bear that in mind. And the less salt you use, the more you get used to no salt. So if some people say, maybe I should use those, salt substitutes. But then you never get used to no salt. Then you keep wanting it. So I really encourage you to try to go as low salt as you can. And if you don't want to go too low salt, don't add it to your recipe, but maybe sprinkle a little on at the end. So then it's not throughout the whole recipe. So I'm just going to stick my onions in here first. And it says to do the onions maybe 3 to 5 minutes. You just want to get them soft. Now, if you're doing this on your stovetop, then you're doing it in your pan. And you know how when it starts to, like you think those onions are going to burn? Throw a little more broth in. And then you're just going to deglaze your pan and still get your onions nice and soft. You really don't need the oil. So while these are just, I've got my 3 to 5 minutes, I'm just going to chat a little bit more. So there's a number of reasons I like this recipe. One is because I always like beans. One is because the black-eyed peas are going to bring me good luck. But it also combines the greens. I'm trying to eat more and more greens these days. Is anybody else trying to eat more greens? How much greens do you have, do you think? When do you throw them in? 3 times a day, once a week? Shout it out. Thank you. Okay, 3 times a week. Very brave. All right, what else we got? Once a day? That's good. Okay. It depends on who you like to follow, of all the plant-based gurus, I guess. Some say have them 6 times a day. I've never been able to manage that. But I do try to have them a few times a day, maybe even 3. I've been trying to add them at breakfast a little bit more. Another thing I love about this recipe is the green in this recipe are collards. Who likes collards here? Love collards. And it's not as, I hardly ever used to use collards. And now this winter, my winter crop, I have a little winter garden, and I started it a little late. And when I went to I usually do it from plants, not from seeds, because I'm not a great gardener. And there was no kale, There was a little Swiss chard, but everybody had collards, so that's what I got in my winter garden. So I can't wait to have lots of collards. So I've been looking for lots of recipes for collards. Collards, a lot of times, take a little bit longer to cook. Like kale, I can do that in 2 or 3 minutes. Collards, they say to cook a little bit more. So, well, I love kale because it really holds up, you know? Spinach, it turns all limp right away, which is fine. But kale is very sturdy, so I like that. It's a little hardier. Yeah. So we've got kale, we've got spinach, we have chard of all the colors. Beet greens. Anybody here like the beet green? Oh, it kills me when you're at the farmer's market and somebody's saying to the farmer, oh, just take those greens off. I just want the beets. That's like 2 vegetables in one right there. So yeah, cook those beet greens. Love the beet green. You know, those carrot tops you can do so much with, and we tend to throw them away. So that's true. Okay, so right now my onions are getting a little soft. So what this also called for was a chopped up red bell pepper, which were so small today at the store, I got a yellow one. Yellow, kind of yellow orangey. So I'm going to throw that in. You're just going to cook it for another minute. And then I'm going to turn the whole thing off. And I'm going to do a little garlic. I kind of cheated and got my little jar of garlic and this adorable little spoon. So I'm just going to throw a bunch in. Yeah, you could measure, but whatever. Okay, so cook these for another minute. Then I'm going to shut it off, and I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. And then I'm going to turn it back on. And the way the Instant Pot works is it brings it up to pressure. And then it cooks at that pressure for whatever allotted time it is. And then you can either release the pressure as soon as it's done, or you can let the pressure come down naturally. So I usually go by whatever the recipe says. And this recipe calls for you bring it up to pressure, cook it for 17 minutes. It takes about 12, 13 minutes for it to get up to pressure. And then you let it come down naturally for about 15 minutes. That counts as your cooking time too. So especially for beans, I like to listen to that because it makes sure the beans get cooked thoroughly. So about my minute is up. Now, as I just told you, all the things that have to do with the Instant Pot, it's really not instant. I mean, that's kind of a fake name. It is a multi-cooker, but it is one pot. It's not a hassle. You can saute it in there. You throw everything in, and then you cook it. So it's done. So that's why I like it, but it is not going to be fast. So if you're looking for something fast, this really isn't it. But you can cook your beans faster than you would on the stovetop, and you could do your oatmeal in a minute. And mine that I have, it's actually the crock pot version of an Instant Pot. So a lot of times mine will say, go to manual. The recipe will say, go to manual. I don't have a manual. I don't have a lot of the same buttons. People will say, cook porridge and just hit porridge. Mine doesn't have porridge. So you have to fake it a little bit depending on what kind you have. But these are very moderately priced these days. Okay, so my onions are done. Now let's see what else we got in this recipe. I might need my glasses. Okay, now I'm going to throw in the rest. So I just used dried black-eyed peas. And remember, even if you are cooking these on the stovetop, you don't need to pre-soak black-eyed peas. People say if you don't pre-soak your beans, that's kind of a way to degas them. You know what I mean? And it's true. All the kind of the things that might be gas-causing things come out in the water, and then you dump the water. And I have experimented with this. So this might be a little too much information that you don't want to know. But if you do soak your beans, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, it will degas them better. Just know that. So I'm going to throw in my black-eyed peas. I'm going to throw in the rest of my broth. This is a low-sodium broth. This happens to be that Kitchen Basics brand. I don't know. Does anybody have a favorite that they use? The vegetable broth. So this is the vegetable one. I like the Trader Joe's one because it's usually cheaper. Okay, now I already mixed up all my seasonings. So it calls for smoked paprika, 2 bay leaves, and a little cayenne pepper. So I already have that in here. And one thing, as we discovered back there, you're supposed to pull out your bay leaves, but then they start to look like the collards after it's been cooking. So be careful. So then it also calls for low sodium soy sauce. And then liquid smoke. Who's used liquid smoke? You really know. You almost think, I think there's meat in there. It tastes so smoky, I think. So I like liquid smoke. It usually goes in recipes that would normally call for a ham hock. You know, split pea soup and beans and things like that. But I think if you left it out, you use smoked paprika, so it's going to have a little smokiness, but not as much as this. And I'll tell you, when I made this at New Year's, my brother-in-law was, my son-in-law was sitting there, and I was busy talking and not paying attention. And when I started pouring, it like all dumped out. So those beans were smoky, I'm telling you. So I think I got everything. Okay, so I think everything. I didn't add the salt. I actually didn't add the pepper either. Okay, so the secret, if it's a secret on this recipe, is you add all that stuff, stir it up, and then you take your greens, which I've already chopped the collard greens, and you set them right on top. And then you cook it. That's it. So you don't stir the greens in.
It said add all remaining ingredients except collard greens and stir. Oh, top with the collard greens. Gotcha.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And that's exactly the kind of thing I usually miss when I'm looking at recipes.
Details.
Yeah, I'm not really great at details. So when you have an Instant Pot or a pressure cooker, which when I had a regular pressure cooker, I was never very good at that. But you lock the lid and then you turn it to either let steam out or don't let it out. It won't ever come up to pressure if you don't turn it to keep it in. And then I'm just going to put it in the back here and cook it. If someone could get that door for me, that would be great. And we're going to cook it for 17 minutes, and then it'll come down to pressure with 15 minutes. Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, so I think am I off? Is there questions?
What kind of liquid smoke is that?
I get whatever's at the store, and this stuff will last forever. So this happens to be the Wrights. But I've had other ones before, too. I don't know if there's much difference in their flavors. And let's see, anything else? So the low sodium here. I got all my stuff today at Raley's.
Yahoo!
Because Raley's is a great store. You know, I totally forgot that the coconut aminos would have been an option in here, and I do have coconut aminos too, and I think they're just a little sweeter. I think they taste a little less salty than the soy sauce. So I think I'll see you in a minute, and we'll do chili, and then I'll chat on more.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much, Debbie.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your mind. Do you take care of your mind? Okay. A contented mind, a cheerful spirit is health to the body and strength to the soul. Right? So we got to take care of that. Here's a few things that you can do to take care of your mind. You need to have a purpose for your day. What are you going to do when you get up in the morning? Have a purpose. For some of us it's work. But that schedule, your body loves and your mind loves a schedule. That rest is real important. Exercise. Hey, how about playing some games? Games are really good for your mind. Reading books, expanding your knowledge, memorizing things. Anyone like puzzles? Yeah. I've been working a lot of puzzles because everybody that came to visit my mom-in-law brought us a puzzle. And you know how you have a little front entry closet in your front entry? It's full. So I've been going through puzzles, and they're those kinds that are like 300 pieces, and they're nice big pieces. So I can do them in an hour. So it's like a decompress at the end of the day for me. It's really, I'm amazed. Music is very good for your mind. Listening to music, singing, playing, all that. When my mom-in-law was in the hospital in October, there was a lady that came around and played the harp. It was, about this tall, And she just came around and said, may I play for you? And oh my goodness, that was so soothing. And of course, I told her, I asked her, I said, it would be even better if you could play some hymns. And she says, because you asked, I can do that. So, those kind of things, they just pop into your day. Like, oh yeah, that's awesome. That's actually working your mind. It's great. It's great stuff. New tasks, expanding your mind. Absolutely. Travel. Yeah. Seeing new places. And what about laughter? Isn't laughter the best medicine? So, here's a few little brain teasers for you. It might not be the most difficult ones in the world here tonight, but give it a shot here. This is a common phrase. What is it? Already heard it. Stick in the mud. So you have mud on both sides and you stick in the middle. I bet you'll find out some outside today for sure. This is another common phrase. A home away from home. Is it far apart? Yeah. This is another common phrase. There we go. I heard several good suggestions, but it is, that's what I was looking for, is mad about you in the middle. Yeah, mad about you. Now tell me, why do cows wear bells? Ready? Their horns don't work. Okay, you laughing yet? All right. That's the goal. Okay, more another time. Let's talk about your body. Your eyes, as in God's eyes, saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. He knows. He made us, and he knows what's best for us. Now, taking care of your body does include breathing. Are you doing that? Okay, good. Now, not just any kind of breathing. Do you do deep breathing? I know my choir director made us do some of this stuff before we started singing. It's very good. It's very peaceful. You can use your arms and all kinds of things too. Absolutely goes along with breathing. When we sit at the computer too long, we tend to do this really short breathing, and we got to get back to this deep breathing, using all of our lungs. Sunshine is very good for you. Now, of course, this is the good thing that should be used in moderation, because burned is not good. So you have to know your skin tone and what you can handle, and only use it appropriately for you. But sunshine is good. That's a very good source for vitamin D, and it's when you get outside, it's marvelous. It's just encouraging and uplifting, the light from the sunshine. Water, consuming the water, as well as, of course, washing with water is very good uses of water for your body. Nutrition, of course, we like to talk about that quite a bit. Rest, okay, we're back to rest and exercise. So rest and exercise, all these things, all good for body and mind. Now, I understand that you all wanted us to get back to putting our exercise little clip into the program, so I've done that this evening. So if you'd like to do, and it's not a tough one, okay? So if you'd like to do this exercise program, you can always just move to this side of the room, but you can always just do it from your seat right there as well. So here we go.
What if there was something simple you could do every day that would burn calories, be good for your heart, and help you stay young? You'd do it, right? Well, that's why researchers and doctors are telling everyone that walking is the medicine for life, especially in light of new research that credits it for everything from cutting breast cancer risks to helping you sleep. You name it, walking helps it. Do you know that even a 5-minute brisk walk can start to bring your blood pressure down, reduce stress and anxiety? Okay, let's stop talking. Let's start walking. Here's a 5-minute health-boosting walk right now. Here we go, everybody. Come on, feet. Just start walking. Walk, 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 walk. Woo! Watch what 5 minutes can do. Come on. It's walk, 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 walk. Always find that nice fast pace. That's why we use music in our Walk at Home program. It's all about the speed you need to get in great shape. It's walking, 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 walking. 5, 6, ready for side steps? Try it now, just out to the side. Step out to the side, the other foot comes right in to meet it. Out together, out together. Right away I dropped in a little, okay? So sit down into it just a bit. Out together, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, walking again, we're walking, yeah. Go. Good. Kicks are coming. Give me 4 more walks. 4, 3, 2. Now here comes a kick. Before I raise my leg, I'm thinking stable core, belly button toward the spine, and you've got a long back. Your alignment is good. Kick, kick, good. Kick and kick. Come on, strong kicks. 4 more counts. 4, 3, 2. We're walking now. Good. Walk, walk, walk. Come on, feet. Pick them up high. They're moving fast. Even in a minute, you can feel your core temperature goes up. Your body's warmer. The muscles are warm. Woo, knee lifts. 4, 3, ready. Just pull the knee up really strong. Real strong. Again, tight core, strong core. Nice. 4 more counts. 4, 3, 2. Walk, walk, walk. Come on, walk. All right, upper body. All I want you to do is just reach out, pull back, reach out, pull back, reach out, pull back. 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Power walk. Go arms. Side steps. Ready? Step out. Here we go. Bend your knees. Sit down low. I really want your thigh muscles to fire up. All right, here we go, arms. Open and close. Open, close, open, close. 8 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Walk, 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 walk. Here goes a walk. Nice. Come on, pick up feet. 5, 6. All right, kicks again. Tight tummy, come on. You gotta really get strong in that core. You do it every time you just draw your muscles back. Woo, come on, kick, 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 kick. 8 more, here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 more power kicks, real big ones. Now we're walking again, knee lifts are coming back. Come on, feet, 5, 6. All right, now just draw the knees up, here it is, knee up, knee up, knee up, knee up, knees up, knees up, knees up, knees up. 4 more, here's 4, 3, 2, walk, 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 good. All right, little movement. All I want you to do is come forward, back it up. Yeah, feels good. Muscles in motion. Whew. Even a little bit of walking gets that circulation going. It just gives your metabolism a nice little burst. Come on, if you've been sitting at a desk all day, a 5-minute brisk walk really can be a great health tool for you. Come on, bring your energy back for the afternoon. This is how to do it. Okay, stay here. Power walk, pick up, go, go, go. 4, 3, side steps to the end. Let's go. Come on, now sit down low. Open, close, open, close, open, close. Feel better? See what 5 minutes can do? Amazing. If you're counting steps, this is about a 500-step workout. If you are counting with your step counters, I love that. 4, 3, power walk. Nice job. Fast feet, fast feet. Now I want you to slowly, keep it easy. Exhale. In case your breathing just took off, if that heart rate started to climb. Easy. That's it. You did it. 5-minute health-boosting walk. See you next time.
I can tell you're all awake now. Just a 5-minute little boost, see? Yeah? So when you're sitting at the computer all day and you get up and move around just for 5 minutes, see what that can do. Good stuff. But get moving. We were made for motion. Do something. Gardening, walking, something. But so this video I got off of YouTube. Leslie Sansone, she produces a bunch of different videos, different things, routines that they do, and especially on rainy days like this when you can't go outside, those are perfect to get that motion in. But otherwise, hey, guess what? You can get more packed into a walk outside in the fresh air, the sunshine, and of course you're getting that exercise, and then add a friend, and you got a 4-in-1. Oh, yeah. That's the best. So, well, yeah, you could go out on your porch and you're still getting your fresh air, even if it's raining. It's good. Excellent. All right, so now that you're awake, you ready for the next demonstration? All right. So the next one sounds like my kind of a recipe. So welcome Debbie back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that little video. I love her, and I've been doing her since she was on VHS. Yeah, I love her. So thank you for doing that. That just reminded me, because I haven't used her yet this winter.
Oh.
Because I tend to walk every morning, and it's raining, I'll put her on. I'll find her now on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, so now, no chop chili. It is a super easy recipe. And I'll tell you a little about my history, is that I am a dietitian, and I worked at UC Davis Medical Center, where we had a heart disease reversal program. And in that program, people would come for a little 2-day retreat, kind of, and we started making the no chop chili then with them, because they cooked themselves, and it was so easy. And I think it was a cooking light recipe that we just modified to make it plant-based. And it truly is no chop, although if you wanted to chop, you could. But so that program, the hospital didn't really support it quite as much as we wanted, and so it kind of dispersed. And then eventually it moved to Sac State, which is where I met Leanne, and we have kind of a community cardiac rehab program there now that we do. And we still use the same principles, the heart disease reversal, where we do very much similar to the pillars that you all have, with exercise and nutrition and rest and stress management. And so I'm going to make you the no chop chili. Now it calls for meat of some sort. I mean, if you want to do meat. I mean, most chili you just do beans, and that's fine. But I like to use a little something, and thank you so much, in case you're saying, well, she said whole food, and I just used a package, you're totally right. They didn't have tempeh at Rayleigh's this morning. So sometimes I'll take tempeh, which is a fermented soybean, and then I'll grate it, and I'll use that as the meat. But I feel like this is the least processed of a lot of those packaged meats. It's not Beyond or Impossible. So it's called Light Life. It's low fat. It's low sodium. It's made from soy. Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. Now, I didn't add anything to my pan, and I turned it hot, so I'm going to add a little water. This water's eventually going to go in my recipe anyway. So just like I did with the broth, this one just calls for water. And this stuff's already cooked. So you don't need to do a whole lot. 3 or 4 minutes, and it browns up a little bit. I think I might have made this too hot. Let's try that. And just break it up. Now, besides the tempeh, what else have I've broken up tofu and put it in it. Can you think of anything else you'd want to put in place of the meat?
Don't mushrooms work?
Thank you. I was thinking mushrooms. Absolutely. Chopped up mushrooms are a great meat substitute. They don't add quite as much protein as this is significant in protein.
But you have beans that have the protein.
Yeah. So we got plenty of protein because we got the beans. Now, the recipe, I just opened all these cans. I've done it before, depending on my mood. I've done it where I chopped up an onion and garlic or peppers and things, but I had to go in the spirit of truly no chop. So I opened up all these low sodium cans, and y'all throw it in there and you cook it. That's basically it. So I know, isn't it awesome? You know, it's very, I don't know, forgiving. You can add whatever you want to it. You don't have to measure anything. I've been making it for over 20 years now, and I still always have, it freezes well, so I always have some in the freezer. My husband isn't into the meatless as much as I'd love him to be. So he always does meatless Monday, though. So in case I have nothing really to make that night or nothing that he would really appreciate, I always have some no-chop chili in the freezer. So we always have that. Now, you can also serve this when you finally ultimately serve it with any of the toppings that you like. So it's really great for when you have people, mixed people. Some people who eat meat, some who don't, some who are vegan, some who do include dairy. You can have all your toppings that they could add to it also. And I don't think I've ever had a meat lover complain about this one. So then I'm just going to add all my stuff. This is warm enough. I warmed it through. So I happen to pick black beans and kidney beans, but you could choose whatever beans you want. Now I've already poured these out, drained them, put them in a colander, and rinsed them for a minute. So any sodium that was in here, when you rinse it for a minute, you lose about 40% of the salt that's in there. So like I said, you might say, hey, this needs more salt. Did I get them all? Yes. Then I throw corn in too. You could use frozen corn. A lot of times I use frozen corn, but for today, I just thought I'd go all cans all the time. And then I like to use the diced green chilies. These are not hot, but they do have a little kick to them, a little spice. And then it calls for diced tomatoes. Now, sometimes you'll find the tomatoes that have chipotle seasoning or Mexican kind of seasoning in there. It's harder to find those also in low sodium, though. So we went low sodium today. Then, if that wasn't enough, we also are going to throw in some salsa. So this is where you could get some heat if you wanted. I just chose mild salsa, but if you want a little heat, you could do a hot salsa. You could do the salsa like a pico de gallo that you buy in the deli section, you know, that's all chopped up. I already used, for the first one that I made, I used half this jar. Now I'm going to use the rest. And so you use maybe about a cup. Like I said, we just never measure on this anymore. I don't know, that doesn't seem like it's quite enough, so I'm going to go with just a little more. So the meaty flavor is from this stuff. Yeah, no meat in it. You'll never get meat from me. Then also calls for water. Now, they were kind enough to give me 2 cups of water in this, but at home, I'll usually just put water in a can and dump it in so you don't have to have one more thing to wash.
Even better.
And then it's going to call for some seasoning. So it calls for chili powder, cumin, and oregano, which is right here. So I already mixed it all up in here. And also, you know, once somebody told me that when you make chili, you're supposed to do a little dash of cinnamon in it. So there's a little dash of cinnamon in it too. Now, I also hardly ever measure that when I'm doing it at home. I dump it all in my hand, pour it in there. I don't add the salt and pepper. People can add that if they want afterwards. Do you think it needs salt? Does it? Oh, good. Okay. So that's it. Now it's going to cook for like 20 minutes. So I'm just going to let it cook here. You bring it kind of to a boil. You know how, like everything that you make, you bring it up to a boil and then you bring it down to a simmer. So the nice thing about this recipe, too, is it makes a lot, freezes well, super easy to make, really super cheap when you think about it, and it's super high in fiber, low in sodium, high in protein. It's a really great dish, I think, and you can do a lot of different things with it. It's versatile. And all plant foods, well, what makes a complete protein is all the essential amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. All plant foods have all the essential amino acids, just not always in the same ratio as meat does, as animal protein does. But this one does have soy, which is considered to be a complete protein. And we don't have to worry about combining like we used to back in the day before they knew, looked at things at the cellular level. We used to think, oh, you had to have your beans with rice, or you don't have to combine anymore. Now they know that if you eat a protein like your beans, and they break into individual amino acids in your body, and then there's a little storage of amino acids in our body. And so when we need to make something that uses those amino acids, like we need to make some insulin, it'll go in there and they'll put it all together. And so we don't have to eat them all at the same meal like we used to back when, who was with Jennifer LePay, was that her name? Yeah, about if you get a wide variety throughout the day, you're doing good. Yeah. What we don't have in our country generally is a shortage of, protein deficiencies. We don't have that. What we do have are fiber deficiencies. And we have a lot of problems and health problems related to not having enough fiber in our diets. So that's one thing that this will take care of too.
All right, so next we have Debbie coming back. And I did not get the word as to exactly what she would talk about. So I just labeled this as words of wisdom from the registered dietitian. But she's already given us some, just in the last couple of minutes. So take it away, Debbie.
I did have a few little notes. But I wanted to kind of go off again about telling you about the program where I'm at. So it's the Cardiovascular Wellness Program. We are supported by Sacramento State. So we have a nice huge space in Folsom Hall, which is nice because it's not right on campus, it's outside of campus, so it's so much easier. We do get people from cardiac rehab at UC Davis still, though, and we're very much supported by UC Davis and Sacramento State as far as sending clients there. And our mission, as I said, was very similar to yours. So whole food, plant-based diet, working on nutrition and exercise and rest and sleep and stress management. So I think we have our goals align very nicely. And I have been a vegetarian since I worked at St. Helena Hospital in St. Helena, which is a Seventh-day Adventist hospital. I had never been a vegetarian before there, and I became a vegetarian there, and then I've been a vegan for over 10 years now. But I feel like plant-based diets are the way to go. I got my first love of it at St. Helena when I worked with the McDougall program, if you're familiar with that. So I was really a backup to the backup dietitian. So I was nobody, but that's where I got my love for that. And that's what got me into UC Davis and our heart disease reversal program. So I really appreciate all the people who have gone before me to help promote whole food, plant-based diets. So I guess you all know, I'm sure, about the blue zones, right? And Loma Linda is the only blue zone in the United States. And has everybody watched the Blue Zones on Netflix? So it's actually really worth a watch. So it talks about these 5 areas of the world where people live to be 100 or more without the usual health problems that you see here in the United States, right? Not much heart disease, not much kidney disease, not much diabetes. And so these blue zones have some things in common. And one is that they follow a very nearly whole food plant-based diet, or more plants, less animals. They also are people who follow those pillars that you were talking about. So they get rest, they have a sense of purpose, they keep busy. And that's the things that we try to promote also. And so I love that. And the reason why Loma Linda is one of the blue zones is because of the pillars that you all follow here. So I think that's really great. And I do love that area. So is everybody here plant-based, do you think? Did we talk about that? No? I don't know if everybody is or not. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you why you should be. So I mean, just eating more plants is a good start. Eating more fruits and vegetables, eating more greens, eating more beans. It's a great place to start. Helps to lower your risk of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. But when we become a whole food plant-based diet, that is the only diet that's been shown to actually reverse those chronic diseases. When we had our heart disease reversal program at the Med Center, I mean, we saw people who came in who had had heart attacks and all kinds of problems. And sometimes if they had a test afterwards, you could see that their heart disease, their blockages in their arteries actually reversed. And it's only been shown, many other scholars have shown that now, and doctors, but it's only on a whole food plant-based diet. But plant-based diet is also good because they're generally high in fiber. And fiber helps keep things moving and helps keep our gut microbiome healthy, which is what you probably read about all the time about our gut microbiome. Has everybody heard about that? The little bacteria in our gut that help run everything? I mean, who knew? We didn't know that. So now we know that if we have a healthy gut microbiome, it reduces our risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and helps with heart disease and everything. So the whole food plant-based is kind of the way to go on those things. And if you're not ready for that, that's fine. Just get as close to it as you can. More plants, less processed foods. Now, you'll say, oh, you said unprocessed, but you had all those cans. That's true. So there is some processing that I think is probably okay. And that's like the canned beans. They don't do a whole lot to them. I get low sodium, I rinse it off. But eating whole real foods as close to nature as possible is the best. Now, this month we are talking about soups. That was our thing. So let me ask you a few things about soups. Here's your quiz. What are some benefits of soup? Oh, thank you. What? You can sip it. You can drink it out of a little cup. You're absolutely right. It's nutrient dense. So, and that means what we want to eat, everything is the most nutrients per bite. And so it is only got all good things in it. What's a problem? Let's say we go out to eat and we get a bowl of soup. What's going to be the issue? So much sodium, like more than we should have all day. So even at the best restaurants, they put in a lot of salt. So that's why it's so nice to make our own and have some of those quick, easy recipes that you can do. And to me, it's good to have little gadgets that help you make that soup. I do love my gadgets. So I like my Instapot. I like my little chopper. What else? What's a favorite gadget of yours? The immersion blender, thank you. That's a perfect one for soup. You're right. So you cook up your soup and then you stick that immersion blender in there. It purees it up a little bit. Okay, let's see. On my benefits of soup, what else do I have here? The broth-based kind of soups, like the one we made before, not necessarily this one, they're very nutrient dense and they're filled with so much water and fluid that they help us to feel more full. They've done studies on volume of food in our gut. And when we have clear or broth-based soups, that helps with weight loss because they fill us up more for fewer calories per bite. So that's one thing. They have all the nutrients that we talked about. They're generally inexpensive. You can have leftovers, and they generally freeze well. So you can have quite a bit there. You can change the produce depending on the season. So we got collards today. In the winter, we have butternut squash soup or any of the squashes, and that's where that immersion blender comes in very nicely because you can blend them all up. And, it keeps us warm too, so I like that. So one of the things, as we mentioned, is the salt in a lot of soups. So how much salt do you think is in a package of ramen noodles? It's in milligrams. In the whole package. If you eat a whole package of ramen noodles, ooh, you're close. It's 1,660. How much are we supposed to have? Well, it depends on who you ask and how old you are, but for my age and my issues, I'm trying to aim for 1,500 milligrams a day, but we can generally go up to 2,300 milligrams of salt. Yeah, so a teaspoon is about 2,300 milligrams of salt, a teaspoon of salt. So a package of ramen noodles has done it for me. It blew my whole day. Let's see, what else did I put here? What about a can of Campbell's tomato soup? Something I grew up with. No, not a can, a cup. Guesses? $9.60. So I don't know about you, but I eat the whole can. So that's double that. Again, over my allotment. What about a cup of Panera 10 veggie soup? My personal favorite at Panera. A cup, not a bowl. Well, a cup is $7.30 and a bowl is $10.90, 1,090 milligrams of salt. So what should we do then? What's the answer? Make your own? Make your own and use low sodium ingredients. Yes. And if you're not sure how to make soup, these are some recipes. You can always Google recipes. But you could also just start by cooking up your own. In fact, it was on the box of Kitchen Basics broth that I learned how to start making soup on my own. I just started out sauteing like we did. The carrots, celery, onion, garlic. Then you throw in a can or two of beans, maybe some other vegetables. You throw in that broth. You cook it for a few minutes, 15 minutes, and then you throw in a bunch of greens, and you've got a great soup. So it's really not hard to make soup. But I'm not really great at creating recipes, so I tend to Google them. Let's see what else I got. Oh, what's the difference between stock and broth? It often includes the bones. Yeah, I know bone broth is a real hot item these days, but it really has no redeeming qualities in my opinion, but I've not seen great studies on it. But yeah, usually stock is made from bones or meat, and a broth is usually made from vegetables and herbs. And sometimes they'll throw meat in it too. What they have in common is they're both usually really high in sodium. So you can get low sodium versions, or you can get the dehydrated versions of those in the little cubes, little bouillon cubes. They have low sodium vegetable broth. So I like those. That's a good point. What she's saying is that if you're going to do low sodium or even low fat, they got to do something to cover that up. So usually they add sugar, or if it's low fat, they might add salt. So you do want to read your labels and make sure that you're getting the healthiest things you want. What else did I say about this? Has anybody made their own vegetable stock? No? You can do it from scraps. So you peel your carrots, you peel your potatoes, you have the ends of the celery that you don't use. Throw them all in the freezer until you have enough to throw. I do it in the Instapot, but you can do it on the stovetop. And you make your own vegetable broth. Super easy, no sodium. So I've got one last thing. I think my time's probably up. But a lot of recipes call for coconut milk. What are your thoughts on coconut milk for soups? It does, it is nice like in Thai soups and things. It's got a nice flavor, but coconut milk is super high in saturated fat, which is the kind of fat that clogs your arteries. It's not as bad as we thought, like back when I was in school over 30 years ago. We thought it was just so horrible, but it's still not a health food like a lot of times it's promoted as. So in recipes like a butternut squash soup, and it calls for a can of coconut milk, I'll make a little cashew cream, which is you take some cashews and you soak them in hot water for about half an hour, and then you put them in a blender you drain that water and put them in a blender with about the same amount of water, and it makes a nice little creamy thing for your butternut squash soup or any of your soups. So don't feel like you have to use the coconut milk. Any questions? Have we done now? Yes, ma'am. The autumn squash at Panera, I'm sure, is absolutely amazing, as is their tomato bisque. They probably add cream to it, but I'm not sure. And I'm sure it's got at least 1,000 milligrams of sodium in it. Yeah. I know, it's really excellent. I agree. Oh, okay. She's talking about Seasons 52, where I have not been in years at Arden Fair. And I bet their soups are amazing. but I bet they're all pretty high in salt. I'm not sure though. We'll have to look that up. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, once in a while it's fine. Absolutely. And it depends on what else you're having. Okay. Anything else? You know, I feel like we get plenty of magnesium in the foods that we eat. I don't know that we definitely, some people might need to have a whole separate magnesium. Are you thinking of it for calcium? Yeah. So then get the calcium that has the magnesium in it, I think. I think that's the way to go. I don't generally take those because I take a little multivitamin and I figure I'm taken care of. And I don't even want to, I'm too embarrassed to tell you, it's a Flintstones chewable. Okay, thank you for having me today. Thank you for inviting me, Leanne. It's been super fun. You guys are a really great group, and I just admire you for being out here and working so hard on your health and your person. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for joining us and adding your wisdom and making good food for us, too. Soups are good food this time of year, especially on a rainy day like this, huh? Oh, I know. Okay, well, we'll need to wind down our program here. But as she was talking about, remember the filling yourself up, and the soups help with that. This is actually what we like to promote as well, with the concept of the full plate diet. What you start eating is your whole foods. You eat those first, fill up on those, and then you won't eat as much of the other, especially as you may be trying to gradually move out of the diet you have been into and better one. You kind of gradually eat more of the whole foods at the beginning and then less of the others as you go along. It can definitely help you fill up your plate, and it helps you feel fuller and consume fewer calories, and you're going to burn more and lose all that weight and all kinds of health benefits that come along with it. As she said, for the reversing heart disease, it's just amazing that it actually reverses. It doesn't just stop it. It actually reverses it. So give that a try. I do have a flyer over here about the Power Plate. Take your plate and divide it into 4, having a quadrant of grains, once again, whole foods here, whole legumes for a quarter, and vegetables and fruits. And there's more details over there. You can get a hold of that and look at that. And here's a verse for you out of the Bible, because God created us, and this is what He has planned from the very beginning. God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. Fruits, nuts, grains, whole, real foods, as we say these days. And you've been to the produce department, right? They come in all kinds of colors, and every color has different nutrients in it, and you want to get a rainbow of them to fill out all of those nutrients. And it's just beautiful packaging, all that. And as my mom taught me when I was little, you eat something fresh with every meal, because you know what? As a raw piece of food, it has different nutrients than when you cook it up. The chemical composition changes. And so you want to eat something fresh. Fresh is full cram-packed full of nutrients. You want to do that too. And now we go into the spirit portion. We did the mind and the body and spirit portion. Socialization may enter into here. Studying, praying, praise, giving back, asking, believing, claiming God's promises. Trust God. He loves you. And Leanne is here to bring us a little bit on that subject.
Well, at the end of last season, last October, I encouraged all of you to add one more thing to your regimen, right? Add another vegetable. Increase your fiber intake if you're only getting maybe 10 milligrams. If your fruits And your vegetables, you're getting between 1 and 3 milligrams of fiber per fruit or vegetable. So in order to get 30 or 40 a day, that's a lot of fruits and vegetables, right? You have to include the beans. So you're getting 10 milligrams per cup of beans. So that's quite a difference, right? And the other high-yielding fiber food is your berries. Yay, berries. So the raspberries and the blackberries, you're getting about 10 milligrams of fiber per berry. So you can get your fiber if you're eating your berries. So anyway, I encouraged you to maybe increase your water intake, increase your fiber intake, exercise 1 more day a week. How many minutes of exercise are we supposed to get a week? 150 minutes. So that's a week, right? So that's about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So who increased their exercise over the break? Yay, good job. An hour a day, that's fantastic, Linda, that's wonderful. Let's see, what else? Oh, water. Water's life, right? So who increased their water intake? Yeah, we're supposed to be getting 6 to 8 cups a day. Who's meeting the 6 to 8 cup? Where's Chris? There's Chris. Yeah, good job. Okay, 6 to 8 hours sleep a day. Who's successful there? Oh, I don't see many hands. It's hard. So I'm trying to get more sleep, and the sleep before midnight is more beneficial to you than the sleep after midnight, right? So I've been trying to crawl under the covers by 9:30. It's more challenging than it sounds, right? I don't know why it's hard to go to bed at night, but it just is. And then what I found was I was getting the same amount of sleep because I was waking up earlier. Which is absolutely fine, because then I can look for the Lord's blessings earlier in the day. Okay, we've got rest, water, exercise, nutrition. Are we eliminating those things we know are harmful to us? Was anyone over the holidays? They offered you the extra piece of pumpkin pie and you said no thank you, right? Yeah. And then, okay, we've got our, the temperance. The temperance is such a hard thing. So why is self-control so hard? I mean, it's this beautiful ecosystem, and if we operate it as it's designed to work, it functions for a long, long time. I learned that the human body can live to be 120. But if you're suffering with disease, who wants to live to be 120, right? We want to be healthful until our golden years, right? Okay, so that's temperance, air. Oh, those deep breaths. Who increased their deep breathing over the break? You are so good to yourself, Lord. Yes, that deep breathing through your nose, out your mouth, real deep, so that you can feel it in the bottom of your lungs, because most of us are shallow breathers, right? That when we're sitting prolonged periods of time, we're just breathing through our mouth. My kids always say, Mom, you're a mouth breather. Like that's a bad thing. I'm glad I'm breathing. And then trust in God. Who took the opportunities to seek out the Lord over this last break? Those few extra minutes in the morning, those prayers at bedtime we were taught as small children, appreciating nature. You can see God in nature. It is so beautiful that you can, when you're looking for design, it's right there in front of you. So continue. I want to encourage you, continue to increase those things you need to do for yourself, eliminate those things you know are harmful to yourself, and reach out to somebody else. I've heard more over the last 2 months about the crisis that at least America is experiencing with people not getting socialization. And it's affecting the older people quite a bit. Evidently, the suicide amongst older people is on the increase. And so there's lonely people out there. So take off the blinders, look around your neighborhood, find somebody who just needs a hello or a conversation or leftovers from your supper. I mean, there's just little things that we can do to reach out to those people around us who need just that social contact. Okay, let's pray. Dear loving Heavenly Father, what a mighty God you are. We are so appreciative of your love and your goodness and your kindness. We thank you for this beautiful design of our body. And Lord, help us to be diligent stewards of this marvelous body you've given us. Bless each person here, encourage them, strengthen them, and draw them closer to you. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for coming.
Okay. Now, just before we leave, though, I have a couple of things. The team, I'd love if the team could join me up here at the front so I can introduce you to all of them. You've seen some of us up front here, like Leanne and me, and Debbie is a team member now here. But Jeremy, he runs the cameras and the sound. I couldn't do it without him. And here's Sandy. She's been helping in the kitchen and bringing the samples around to you. Anne also. And, Shelby is here helping us. Absolutely. And I'm guessing you couldn't get the other member out of the kitchen. Kitchen supervisor this evening is my husband, Rick. And yeah, it's like, it's not my night. So would you help me thank the team for all the hard work that they put into the program? And just before you go, we want to send you off with a song in your heart. So if you know the song, go ahead and sing along with us. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High.
Father, bless each individual here. Take them home safely and bring them back again. Thank you so much for your love and your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Good night. If you'd like to stay and chat with us, we'd love to talk with you as well. God bless you. Good night.